Okay, let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, our final session, it is the AusCERT speed debate. If you haven't been to one of these before, these are tremendous fun. Some of you remember debating from high school, 3 people aside. Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I think our classrooms are badly designed. Yak, 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 yak. 4 minutes, warning bell at 3. No. We're going to have 8 people up here on stage. I'll call them up now and then I'll explain what they're going to do. So a big round of applause. These are first 3 gentlemen have all done this before. Justin Stephen and Stilgarian from just out there. Steve Wilson from SecureNet. Coming up, guys. We've got Edward Farrell. Edward stepped in at the last minute today, which is fantastic. Thank you, Edward. Troy Hunt from the Gold Coast, based data breach cop from Have I Been Pawned? David Litchfield, a man born to sniff out critical security flaws. Darren Kitchen, my good old buddy, of course, from the 1990s phone freak scene. Nigel Fair from the Centre for Internet Safety at the University of Canberra. And Justin Clackety from FutureWise Australia. Do you say Clackety or Clashety? Clackety, there you go. So here are our debaters. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have a series of topics. Each topic will have an affirmative and a negative of 3 speakers each, but every single speech in every one of the 6 debates is only 1 minute long. Okay, so we absolutely fly. I announce the topic, I say who's up, and then we go bang, 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 bang. I don't even have a bell. I'm just going to say, shut up when you get to a minute, gentlemen. Bang. You then, through your app, have the chance to vote. So go to the interactive session of your app. Can we all cue that up so that we are ready to go? And we'll just move on from topic to topic. Now, your job in the audience, don't be shy. This is pretty nerve-wracking stuff. I think they're going to be fantastic. If you like something, if something's funny, laugh. If someone says something you agree with, give them a big round of applause. This is the rollicking end to our AusCERT conference. The first topic is going to be ransomware on medical equipment you're dependent on. Pay or die. The affirmative team will be Nigel, David L. and Troy, and the negative team will be Steve, Justin C. and Darren. So let's have a big round of applause. Our first speaker, come on, in our first debate today, take it away on ransomware, Nigel Fair.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Good afternoon. Of course you pay. It's pretty obvious that you pay, and if you've got the pseudonym of Satoshi Nakamoto, it's in your business interest to pay as well. But of course, when you think about it, it's all going to happen in the US anyway, because we don't have any data breaches in Australia, purely because we don't have any legislation that says that we should have any. So when you think about it, if you're in the US, you're going to pay. There's good money to be made in it. Thank you.
There you go, Nigel. I love your definition of a minute too. That was 28 seconds of absolute quality. Fantastic. First speaker for the negative, Steve Wilson. Take it away, Steve.
I love his definition of data breach. I cut my teeth in medical device software. I wrote the software for the world's first implantable defibrillators, and then I got into security by accident. And pompous git that I am, knowing how these things work, knowing about code inspection, we wrote the operating system ourselves. The telemetry system was proprietary. Less software than in a smart card. And pompous git that I am, I get into security years later and I start hearing about them hacking pacemakers. And I say to them, oh, no. Can't happen. Let me tell you, it can't happen. And I bump into the late, great Barnaby Jack, in fact, I think at AusCERT. And he says, you don't know, Steve, that they're writing these systems on Windows. Your pacemaker runs on Windows. And I thought, well, we might as well give up now. I mean, if that's the level of attention that's gone into the design of these systems, then yes, I think the ransomware has got you by the proverbials and you probably should pay.
Thank you very much, Steve Wilson. Give him a round of applause. David Litchfield for the affirmative. Fire away.
So increasingly, data is the lifeblood of effectively treating patients. See what I did there, lifeblood? Nice. Without access to data, their patient's health is put at risk. God forbid they get pwned, but not paying the ransom is like a hospital not paying its electricity bill. It's just another cost. You either pay up front in advance for a good disaster recovery plan and backups, or you pay later if you get ransomware. Simple as that.
Thank you very much, David Litchfield. Great. Justin Clashety, what have you got for us?
Well, the statement itself is somewhat confusing. I'm not quite sure whether you're supposed to pay or not supposed to pay if you're on the negative. But I'm the negative, so I say balderdash. We do not pay. An ex-cop, of course.
You've got your...
Oh, look, Siri's helping me out here.
Just pause the clock for a second. He rested his elbow on his phone, and Siri heard, I don't know what that means. If you like, I can search the web for, quote, I say balderdash, we do not pay, end quote.
Siri agrees.
You've got another 30 seconds if you'd like to use it. Fire away.
It's no more of a problem than it is elsewhere. I've researched this extensively and I've spoken to the most prominent cyber doctor on Twitter, and he's told me that there are very few medical devices that would result in your death if they were hacked. They might make you sick, but unlikely dead. So sure, far too many hospitals run XP. Sure, doctors are mostly computer illiterate. Sure, there's heart surgery equipment that is put on the internet. Sure, these machines could pierce your aorta. But they're in hospitals. Viruses aren't going to come into computers there.
I'll get you to wrap it.
Yep. Basically, if we all eat sugar-free, avoid vaccinations, take our daily antibiotics, we're not going to be sick and we don't need to care about these things.
There you go. Take it away, Troy Hunt. Your thoughts on the affirmative, Troy?
Justin has just shown everyone he can't even make an argument without relying on his phone, and we're all heavily reliant on these technologies. Now, I would imagine that Justin would actually pay the ransom if something went wrong because he's very heavily dependent on the thing. Earlier this year, Hollywood Presbyterian paid 17 grand to get back online. So this is a medical centre. They were charging 113 grand a day for their CT machine. So just for one device, 113 grand a day. Who cares about 17,000 bucks? Like, you can't even have a meeting with executives to make a decision for less than 17 grand. This is a really good investment and it will keep things online. And I like the argument that ransomware is just a utility. Pay your bills and keep operating.
Thank you very much, Troy. Okay, to wrap it up, final speaker for the negative, Darren Kitchen. What do you say, Darren?
It's medical equipment. So let's first of all just clarify and call it what it is. We're talking about computers here. They're just medical equipment with chips in them, right? And if you saw my talk, you'll know that Grandma had a good life. She was living large. She was jet-setting, right? I'm not saying that we shouldn't secure all systems, but let's face the fact that eventually we're all gonna die. I say, whatever happened to survival of the fittest? So what if a couple of hospitals with lesser capable blue teams or, lesser paid InfoSec pros lose a few patients, I've worked in IT. I know how hard it is to get a good budget. And I'm just saying, with a couple of corpses laying around, you might be able to loosen the purse strings.
Thank you very much, Darren. Okay. Darren told me before this started he'd never seen a speed debate before. My friend, you've got the tone exactly right. Don't you worry. Okay, so you got now, go to your app. We'll just make sure you've got this right here. Go to the interactive sessions bit. And then when you press speed debate under interactive sessions, you should now see ransomware, affirmative or negative. Just hit one of those buttons. You're either going for the affirmative or you're going for the pompous gits who think that Grandma had a good life. So you've got 10 seconds to vote now for the affirmative or the negative. Fire away. And we'll have the interactive little bar graph going there. Currently, the negative in the lead. Negative. Send those votes through. Send those votes through. I'll give you a few more seconds. Lock it in. Ooh, a bit of a surge. Lock it in. Now I give that to the negative. Congratulations, the negative. Steve, Justin and Darren have won our first debate. Okay, our next topic, encryption. At least I think it'll be probably clearer now for the rest of the topics what the affirmative and the negative of the topics actually are, which is a good thing. Encryption enables terrorism. Those in agreement are Edward, Justin S and Still. Those against are Steve, David L and Troy. That encryption enables terrorism. To kick it off, take it away, Edward.
Encryption enables terrorism. All right, folks, put yourself in the shoes of your average counter-terrorist person, whatever. Not only has their latest audit mandate that their snipers have to wear fluoro-orange vests in their wonderful hides, but they must now communicate over an encrypted channel provided by the lowest bidder with the most functional technology possible. Put yourself in the foot that person. I think perhaps the best way I can sum this up is the most recorded line on government radio networks: stuff the crypto, we're going in the clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Edward. Give him a round of applause. The first for the negative, refuting that encryption enables terrorism. Steve Wilson, take it away, Steve.
Stuff the crypto. Look, we all actually know that encryption doesn't enable terrorism. Ignorance enables terrorism. It's ignorance of political systems, it's ignorance of culture, it's ignorance of nuance, ignorance of political change. And now we've got ignorance of security. Is Bill still in the room? Bill Cayley, my old friend, with despair today described how they're shutting down security courses around the world. It's not even a prerequisite for a
Sorry, are
degree.
you having to phone a friend?
Oh, hecklings. Oh. Order.
Look, everybody's learning to code. Nobody's learning to think. Your data's in the cloud, okay, and they'll say to you, it's okay, it's encrypted. Well, you know, if you believe that, the terrorists have won.
Thank you very much, Steve. Okay. To take up the case for the affirmative, he's already had a bit of a go. Justin Stephen.
Yeah, so of course it does. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that encryption's bad or it should be banned or weakened because terrorism, I think if we give up the right to bear keys, the terrorists win. But anyway, encryption does enable terrorism. To deny it is deceitful, and I'll explain. Encryption enables terrorism just as it enables us to work effectively as part of a team. It enables commerce, banking, it enables guides to using PGP, it enables us to complain about PGP, it allows us to share naughty bits of our respective gender. We can't have it both ways. We can't say it enables us to work as part of a team to do what we want to do, but it doesn't enable terrorism. We can't say that to the spooks, get your hands off our crypto. It's important to us without accepting that it's important to someone else. We can't say, well, what have we got here? We can't keep shouting to our echo chamber about websites with C- scores and SSL labs and then turn around and say it's useless, it's not useful for terrorism. It's useful for everyone. It's useful for us, it's useful for them. And that's not good, but we shouldn't ban it because of that. It enables us to work with secrecy, privacy, and the things we seek to achieve. It enables them to do the same thing. It's a deceitful argument. It's ignorant at best, malicious at worst to say that it doesn't help terrorists achieve what they want. We need to win this crypto war, but we need to do it with integrity, and we need to do it with honour, and we need to do it by not kind of making crap arguments like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Justin. Yes, for those of you for whom this is your first speed debate, that's the old try and cram a 4-minute speech into 1 minute trick, and I thought you did quite well there. David Litchfield, to take up the negative, fire away.
So encryption is such an integral part of our daily lives. You may as well say breathing enables terrorism. It's like the last recent terrorist attacks that everyone knows about was the Paris attack, and it turns out that they didn't even use encryption anyway. So, I mean, what more do you need to say from that? So, no, it doesn't enable encryption unless you consider breathing enabling terrorism, unless you consider breathing enabling it too. That was crap. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much, Dave. That's the old cram a 1 minute speech into 30 seconds, including an apology for the speech that I didn't think was necessary. That was fine. Still, launch yourself into your first topic here, my friend. You're closing the affirmative. Encryption enables terrorism.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to expand the question. In fact, encryption not only enables terrorism, encryption causes terrorism.
Whoa! Whoa!
On the 13th of February 1945, the Royal Air Force and the US Army Air Force began a 3-day bombing campaign on the German city of Dresden. Some 4,000 tons of bombs were dropped in that 3-day period. Somewhere around 25,000 people were killed and more than 6 square kilometres of the city destroyed utterly in a firestorm. This was not the only such bombing of Germany in the Second World War, but it was one of the most horrific. The Germans had already called these raids terror raids. The British, in fact, had specifically designed them to destroy German morale. Arthur Bomber Harris thought that he would be tried as a war criminal. Remember, the British had ultra, the Germans had no codes, and the Germans never ever did any terrorism.
There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Still, yes, everyone knows from primary school, every debate at some stage has to involve Hitler or World War II. We can tick that off now. Thank you, Still. Troy Hunt to lock this one down for the negative. Take it away, Troy.
That is also what's known as the Chewbacca defence. So thank you very much for that, Still. So opponents of terrorism are arguing that encryption is going to enable terrorism, and it's just not the case. So have a think about it. You've got terrorist 1, he goes, let's blow some shit up, and then we'll talk over an encrypted channel. Terrorist 2 goes, well, unfortunately, encryption has been banned. And then they go, okay, we'll just go do something else. Like, that is not the way it works. It's not the way it works at all. We saw the Paris attacks. Everything was done over SMS, totally non-encrypted channels. Everybody got very upset recently about the San Bernardino phone because they couldn't decrypt it after they'd already shot all these people. That happened already before encryption was a problem. Encryption is not the problem that enables terrorism. Terrorists are the problem with terrorism.
There you go. Okay, the affirmative. Edward, Justin and Still. The negative, Steve, David and Troy. Go to your app. Vote affirmative or negative. Lock them in now. I'll give you 20 seconds. Let's have a look at the poll as it evolves.
Can I say something about discouragement? As Troy said, you know, the terrorists are looking at encryption going, we better give up now. It's a bit like when Sarbanes-Oxley came in and they put all of this extra process on the white-collar criminals and they said, oh no, look at the paperwork. We better go and get an honest job.
Are people successfully voting? My phone's telling me to wait for the next question. Oh, okay. That's all right. Wow. We're back. We're in. Here we go. Oh. Gee, hello. We might just have an inherently negative crowd here too. This might just be the way of the world. Well, it's the side to be on at the moment. I take it. I wouldn't complain. I'm going to lock that off again. The negative have won that one as well. Congratulations, David, Troy and Stephen. Yeah. Okay, debate topic number 3. If it doesn't have a name and a logo, it's not a real vulnerability. I've got no idea why that's funny, but I'm happy that it is. Going into debate again, at first affirmative will be Edward, will be followed by Troy and Still. The negative term will be David, L, Nigel and Justin. So Edward, take it away. If it doesn't have a name and a logo, it's not a real vulnerability.
All right, so we've firmly established we can't allocate CVEs anymore because Vulnerability Lab decided to provide an ensure overflow against the system for some useless XSS bug. And this is notwithstanding that marketing can't understand any of the text we produce, and the CISO doesn't have any patience for anything besides a map going pew-pew at different countries. We've conditioned people into the visualization of security, whether it be dashboards, screenshots of exploitation illustrating access to an executive's email, or just name your shock image. So until such time a logo is published, your assertions are little more than undocumented functionality.
Your assertions are little more than undocumented functionality. I've actually got that as a tattoo. I believe that so strong. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. It's fantastic. David Litchfield, lead us off for the negative. What have you got for us, David?
Okay, imagine trying to sell that vulnerability scanner. We check for heartbleed, shell shock, venom, image tragic. That's about it. We're going to charge you $5,000 for that, and we check for 4 vulnerabilities. No, it's not. I mean, of course, if a vulnerability exists, it doesn't necessarily have to have a name. All those CVIDs, we've run out of CVIDs unless we name them CVID XXX kind of thing. Then, if that's technically a name, then fair enough. But no, nothing more needs to be said. Who's next?
Okay, I love your style, David. We're going to be out of here before we start at this rate. It's great. Troy, second for the affirmative. If it doesn't have a name and a logo, it's not a real vulnerability.
You know who buys that no-name cola at the shops? Nobody, because it's not Coke. It doesn't have a cool logo. It doesn't have a cool name. Nobody wants to be the one buying the no-name cola. When that image magic bug came out the other day, the guy who found it couldn't get any traction. No one was interested because it was boring. And then he got a logo and he got a website and he called it Image Tragic. And suddenly everyone paid attention because suddenly people started caring about it. It doesn't matter whether it's wrong or right. If you want to get traction, you've got to have a good name. You don't want to be that no-name cola. You want to be the Coke of image logos and vulnerabilities.
Okay. Up to you to rebut that. Back to you, Nigel Fair. Take it away, Nigel.
Look, as you've heard from the other side, hyperbole is to InfoSec what oxygen is to life. You know, there's so much more out there that we need to be concerned about when we're protecting networks, protecting our users. And all we ever see from vendors and consultants and everyone else in between is they're saying, oh, here's something sexy. Look at this great logo. Look at the heartbleed, you know, and here's have a T-shirt as well. So there's so much more out there that we really need to focus on. There's so much more vulnerabilities in systems that don't have that cool logo or an emoji or whatever it goes next to it that we really need to be focusing our time on. And let's get back serious with how we approach this and take away all the gloss from the other side.
Okay, thank you very much, Nigel. To wrap it up, yeah, don't be shy. Keep this applause coming. These guys are doing a great job. To wrap it up for the affirmative, if it doesn't have a name and a logo, it's not a real vulnerability. Take it away still.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm wondering what the Honourable Mr. Litchfield has against capitalism. That he thinks it's a bad thing that you have a list of 4 vulnerabilities and charge for fixing them, and if you want to come back and fix more, you charge more money. I can see why his business is struggling so dramatically. Look, this is the age of media. It is the age of, in fact, viral media. I don't really see a video called CVE 2015-164 really cutting through, do you? Journalists are really time-stretched these days. They don't have a lot of time to make those puns for headlines. What is a good pun on CVE 2015-167? Buggered if I know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Still, okay, there you go. Justin, to wrap it up for the negative, what have you got?
Well, as my grandmother would say, that's complete bunkum. I was listening, Darren. Having a logo doesn't make a vulnerability. You've got the hype that was the lead up to Badlock, and in the end, it was just really nothing. You're more likely to get affected by the stone virus than Badlock. The only real thing it seems to do is give something for marketing. So all these graphic designers are going to be making an awful lot of money, and they'll eventually run out of logos, and we won't end up having patches coming out because the marketing team will be stuck trying to figure out, will we call it Heartbleed or will we call it Heartbled? So to me, it's just a matter of money. The money is better spent with us, obviously, fixing these things. And why have media attention on these things? It's just not necessary.
There you go. Okay, thank you, Justin. Give both our teams a round of applause. Let's get the voting app up there. It's a choice between sexy logos and emojis versus no-name cola, capitalism versus socialism, affirmative and negative. Log your votes now, people. Ooh. Affirmative putting up more of a fight in this one.
No more negative.
Lock it in. Oh, Surge. I'll give you a few more seconds. Come on, Green. Given that at times they go like that, I presume it's sort of a percentage thing. So when they both rise, I find that quite interesting. But I'm loving it. I'm going to give it to the negative again there. Sorry, 3 from the negative. Give them a round of applause. David, Nigel, and Justin. Okay, can we change this trend? Here we go. Here is a topic for you. If we don't fix ubiquitous vulnerabilities on the net today, we're begging Skynet to rise up against us tomorrow. If we don't fix ubiquitous vulnerabilities on the net today, we're begging Skynet to rise up against us tomorrow. Darren, Justin and Nigel will take on David, Edward, it was Justin S, David, Edward and Justin C. So Darren, lead us off. If we don't fix ubiquitous vulnerabilities on the net today, we're begging Skynet to rise up against us tomorrow.
Skynet, AI, this is a worse threat than any nation-state actor, than any of your grandmothers. You've seen what happens when AI hits Twitter. We all saw Microsoft Tay go from a decent person to a Nazi overnight, invoking Godwin's law here. I just saw Troy Hunt's talk about what happens when 19-year-olds get basic SQL injection tools. Imagine a racist AI with script kiddie tools. Are we prepared for that? Imagine an AI Donald Trump spreading as fast as any computer worm. We must squash these bugs, or we will be doomed. We are too dependent on the machines already. You saw what happened with Siri and Justin. We must stop AI Donald Trump. Thank you.
Okay, there you go. Thank you very much, Darren. Okay. First up for the negative, take it away, David Litchfield.
So, Skynet, huh? What did the ping echo request say? I'll be back.
There you go. That's fantastic. That's the fourth. Have you finished?
Yeah, no, I haven't finished.
Okay.
I just wanted to let that one settle in.
Okay,
so.
good.
So the very vulnerability that Skynet would use to rise up against us is its very, it's Achilles heel, basically. We would exploit those same flaws to take control back again, and pull the plug.
Just waiting to check this isn't for dramatic effect. You finished? Fantastic. That was your fourth speech. I'm not sure if you spoke for a minute in total across the forum. I love it. Brevity is the source of all wit, as Shakespeare said. Second affirmative, Justin, Stephen, take it away.
So we've been saying it for years, right? AI is kind of scary, Skynet's going to rise up, ha ha lol, but it's actually not a crazy notion anymore. It's not crazy like cyber warfare or not reusing passwords or not writing image toolkits that system out that W get when they see an SVG. Like, they're all crazy ideas, but this is actually happening. So I don't know if you've heard of this, this startup in the US called DARPA, but they're hosting a contest called the Cyber Grand Challenge, right? So what they've done is they've strategically pivoted and they're hosting a contest which basically they're asking people to create software that can solve CTF challenges. But if you actually read the briefing, and I quote, the CGC seeks to engender a new generation of autonomous cyber defense capabilities that combine the speed and scale of automation with reasoning abilities exceeding that of human experts. That's from a .mil, and that's terrifying. Like, you just take that, you smack it together with, self-driving cars, Go playing robots, and the internet awash with ubiquitous bugs, and I, for one, welcome a new Skynet overlord.
Thank you, Justin. I want some of what you're on. Second negative, Edward, take it away.
I kind of have to refute what Justin was saying before about Tay turning overnight into an offensive bot. Yes, she did do that. However, I think it's important to realise she merely became what the internet was. I think we should view this as a good thing. Tay or Donald Trump or whatever it morphs into will turn into something that will be completely vulnerable because the rest of the internet's vulnerable. Something like that isn't going to rise particularly far.
Thank you, Edward. To wrap it up for the affirmative, Nigel.
I think there's already a lot of vulnerabilities in Donald Trump, that's for sure. But let's bring it back home. The last thing we need also is an AI version of Bill Shorten or any of our other politicians either. But the last thing we need is for the machines to see the humans as a threat. And that's where we need regulation. We regulate everything else in our life. We regulate the roads. We regulate the meal that we had downstairs. Of course, when we're getting into AI, we should be regulating that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nigel. And Justin, to wrap it up for the negative, if we don't fix ubiquitous vulnerabilities on the net today, we're begging Skynet to rise up against us tomorrow. You're in opposition, fire away.
Gee, who'd ever expect an ex-cop to think regulation's the way to go? And we've got Justin over there using the ScoMo defence. That's where if you talk fast enough, no one will notice that you don't have a clue.
Whoa.
Anyway, did people watch the keynote this morning? What did Kane say? AI is not that bright. It's not going to take us over. It's more likely to blow itself up than cause a worldwide mass extinction. Even if by some miracle we got this super intelligent AI running around, the people who wrote it would have written vulnerabilities as well, and that's what caused Skynet. As David said earlier, we'll just go through and get those, circumvent it, shut it down. Plus, robots, the Terminator would just fall over with a swift kick to the chest, or just put a rock in front of it. Bombs, they'd probably end up hitting the moon because the AI forgot to move out of degrees into radians.
Find the end.
And nanobots are really the main problem. Chemtrails and nanobots. Nanobots distributed by chemtrails. So bring on the grey goo, forget about the AI.
Thank you very much, Justin. Okay, get your app up and running. Give them a round of applause. Let's get voting on that one. We had on the affirmative, Darren, Justin and Nigel. On the negative, David, Edward and Justin C. Oh, we've gone for a bit of a pie graph now. Oh, okay. Oh. An annulus. Oh, and the floor is loving this format of a graph a lot more. Okay. Yeah, this is... no. Yeah, no, you're up till 8 o'clock, coming back. I'll give you another few seconds.
Another few minutes?
We seem to have stabilised. I'll give that one to the affirmative. Congratulations, Darren, Justin and Nigel. Okay, now that is the end of David's involvement in the debate. You've done your four, so give him a round of applause. First person finished. Well done, David. Now you can just sit back and watch everyone else suffer. Privacy is no longer worth fighting for is the next topic. Privacy is no longer worth fighting for. Edward, Justin and Still, I think this was exactly, you guys were the affirmative back in debate too. Fantastic. And Steve, Darren and Justin C reunited from debate one. On a good thing here. Edward, kick it off for us. Privacy is no longer worth fighting for.
So in 1929, the US Secretary of State Stevens said, "Gentlemen do not read each other's mail." And with that, the US Black Chamber was shut down after all this wonderful work it did against the Japanese, against the Germans, and of course then we had the descent into the next World War shortly thereafter. Folks, I put it to you, privacy's been dead for years because we can't risk it. The only privacy left is that which is inside of our head, and maybe that's enough.
Okay, thank you very much, Edward. Steve Wilson, take it away.
I'm going to take a walk down memory lane as well. It was around about 1880 that we had the first privacy is dead myth because of Polaroid or portable photography and telegraphs. In the 1970s, the front page of the Newsweek magazine said privacy is dead. Eric Schmidt from Google has said, you know, you shouldn't be doing this stuff that you're ashamed of, so you've got no privacy, get over it. It's a rhetorical position. If anybody says to you that privacy is dead, they're trying to sell you something. It's either sneakers or it's internet service or it's a political philosophy of some sort. If the answer to a rhetorical question is privacy is dead, if the answer has been rhetorically no, then that's the truth. You know, today your thermostat has got a privacy policy, your Barbie doll has got a privacy policy, and it all seems too hard. But it's not hard to stand up for privacy. A mate of mine showed me once Google Maps and it said, you are checking into this hotel next Tuesday, you're checking out on Wednesday. And he said, isn't that cool? I said, no, what if that was your divorce attorney and Google knew what was going on there? He thought that was not cool and he changed his mind about privacy.
There you go. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you for taking us back to 1880. That was a beautiful first-hand account of that. I love that. Justin, take it away.
So growing up, I had a dog, right? Her name was Cindy, and whenever we were inside, she'd be inside with us. She'd see a bird outside, and she hated birds. She'd just go tearing through the doggy door, barking, chasing. We would joke that if she caught the bird, she wouldn't know what to do with the bird. So like my dog Cindy and the birds, like me and attention from a female, if we got our privacy back, we just wouldn't know what to do with it. You know, we've got this empty, ugly, deep pit of despair and emptiness inside of us, and we fill it with selfies at brunch and Valencia Insties of a banging plate of eggs Benny. If you were to give us our privacy back and take away the ability for us to check in at airports when we were going on holidays, stop us from sharing photos of important events like birthdays, funerals, graduations, sports games, whatever else people do when they go outside, the FOMO would crush us. We'd be a shell of our former selves. And you might say, I want to celebrate, life's events and share them with other people, but not be spied on by the government. I don't want Facebook to do data mining and kind of play mind games with me on my newsfeed. But that's cruel. Just like when we would tell Cindy there's a bird outside and there wasn't a bird outside, it's cruel. It's awesome, but it's cruel. We've developed the need to share to feel connected. It's gone from information wants to be free to we need to free our information to feel connected to other people, to feel human. We may not be connected, but we feel connected, and that's why privacy is no longer worth fighting for.
Thank you very much, Justin. I've been involved in debating in some capacity or other since my first year in high school. That's 1981, so that's 35 years. I've never heard the phrase bangin' plate of eggs Benny used in a debate, so thank you so much for that, Justin. Darren, you're on the negative. Take it away.
So what is privacy? If you ask the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it is the state of being free from public attention. And if you look at the word privacy in literature, over the last 200 years, it just makes this absolute hockey stick around 1960. It was absolutely static for all of that time until suddenly it just nearly quadruples. And why is that? What changed? Technology changed. You see, curtains may have been sufficient in the past to protect one's privacy, but today, we're protecting our privacy with technology. So I don't know about you, but I see a lot of information security professionals in the room, and I ask myself, well, is privacy worth fighting for? Well, if it means better information security, well then yes. Otherwise, we should find different jobs.
There you go. Thank you very much, Darren. Still, wrap it up for the affirmative. Is privacy no longer worth fighting for?
Look, what is privacy, Mr. Speaker? Privacy is a middle-class affectation. That's what it is. Now, the Honourable Wilson, to my immediate left here, complained about privacy being full of a whole lot of rhetorical questions. Well, I ask you, what's wrong with rhetorical questions? The Honourable American down the... or the American, anyway. He mentioned curtains. Curtains are also a middle-class affectation, and so are windows. If you're living in an Indian village, there was no privacy. You could hear the neighbours fighting. You knew that young Sanjeev had been out too late one night and his parents were paying him out. Privacy only happened when we herded the middle class into cities and they built their own little castles, their own little kingdoms. They're environmentally unsound. Privacy is not just a middle class affectation, it is environmental vandalism. Thank you.
There you go. I just can't believe we had to wait so long in this debate for such an obvious argument to be raised. But anyway, Justin, wrap it up for us on the negative.
So I'm on the negative yet again. I'm not sure what AusCERT think of me. Anyway, I tried to crowdsource this because everything to do with this question seems so obvious to me. It flusters me that you even have to debate it. The best I got was take your clothes off on stage and say, you don't want to have to see this, do you? So rather than subject you to that awesomeness, I'll say that privacy is an innate thing. We require it as humans. It's part of us. We need to choose when and to whom we reveal secrets. To exist in society, we need to keep that. So when Justin says that, that we need to share, yes, we do, but we need to choose when to share. And taking away privacy doesn't give you that. So that's it for me, really. And I'm not going over time.
There you go, indeed you did not. Well done, Justin. Okay, so privacy is no longer worth fighting for. Note that there's a no in the topic, so work out which way you want to vote. The affirmative was Edward, Justin and Still. The negative was Steve, Darren and this Justin. Take it away.
Whoever's got curl in a loop smashing the negatives, could you turn it off? That'd be really great.
Get those votes in.
What's wrong with you people?
It's not moving, that's not moving. I'm going to give that to the negative. There we go. Okay, congratulations, Steve, Justin and Darren. Okay, our final debate. The internet security dark ages are upon us. The internet security dark ages are upon us. Steve, Still and Nigel will take the affirmative. Justin S, Troy and Darren will take the negative. Fire away, Steve.
Well, look, Darren's been making this case eloquently for us all day, actually, that the internet dark days are on us. I think dark days full stop are on us. I mean, imagine AI Donald Trump. I mean, come on. Lots of A, not so much I. Look, the
Get that
trolling
microphone up
comes
there.
to mind. Trolling comes to mind as probably the pinnacle of bad things.
Microphone up a bit high.
Trolling comes to mind as the archetypal internet evil. Okay, I'm going to have a T-shirt made up out of this because I've been trolled by Craig Wright, who took exception to my
The planet has been
step for
trolled
this.
by Craig, right?
Indeed. So look, you know, every time something tremendous happens on the internet, it's transformative, right? It's changed our lives. It's been great for MOOCs. It's changed the world. Every time something evil happens on the internet, well, you know, meh. It's just another communication medium.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. Justin, you're in opposition. Your final speech for the day. Fire away.
Yeah, so you can turn the curl loop back on now for negative. So I come from a massive sciencey background. When I was in high school, I didn't do ancient history or modern history or whichever history that this period falls into. So I did some research. I did a research, and according to the famous historian Wikipedia, modern use of the term Dark Ages is intended to, quote unquote, express the idea that the events of the period often seem dark because of the scarcity of artistic and cultural output, including historical records when compared with both earlier and later times, citation needed. So as for artistic and cultural output, as an industry, we are weaving a sophisticated and nuanced tapestry of memes. So our bugs get memes, our git commits get memes, we've got memes about our memes because, I heard you like memes. As for historical records, we're just absolutely awash with them. We've got pew-pew maps coming out the proverbial threat butt. We've got 6,000 tweets being tweeted worldwide every second, an increasingly large chunk being InfoSec people who apparently don't have enough to do at work. Our communications are being hoovered up and forever inscribed upon spinning rust in Utah data centers. We've got mail scores being dropped like they're hot, speedy CVE assignments, bugs being catalogued in the OS Vuln database. I should cross that one out. We're awash with cultural output and historical records. We're not in the InfoSec dark ages.
Okay, thank you very much, Justin. Still, fire away.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I need to pull the pace back a little bit after the honourable gentleman to my right. Let's have a think about the Dark Ages, though. We're talking about the period, the original Dark Ages, after the fall of the Roman Empire, when the world fell into a time of superstition because all real scientific knowledge was lost. These days, security people copy their code off the internet. There's the stack whatever thingy that is the repository of all good code. We also have many superstitions. Put on a Guy Fawkes mask and you will be invisible. Run Tor and you can teleport. Put it on the blockchain. Yes, thank you, sir. And everything, really. I mean, just put it on the blockchain and God will come to you. But really, there's just one thing about the Dark Ages that we have in the modern information security world that proves they're the same thing.
Styling, thank you still. Troy, fire away.
I think Justin made it pretty clear, actually. The one bit I did get that I think is worth reiterating is that the Dark Ages was a period. It was about 1800 odd years there, 400 AD onwards. And there was this cultural and economic deterioration. We are not in a period of economic deterioration as far as AppSec goes here. If you're in AppSec at the moment out there, you are having a very bloody good time of it, most likely. It is a really good time because everything is connected and everything is broken. We even have connected toilets now. There is a connected toilet from Japan, where all good toilet things come from. And Trustwave had to issue a security advisory because they found a vulnerability in the toilet. So we are in an era where you can literally get backdoored by your toilet, which is not a dark age for us. It is a golden age for InfoSec professionals.
Thank you very much, Troy. Going out with a bang. Nigel, your final submission for the day. You're the final affirmative speaker. The internet security dark ages are upon us.
I think we all need to take some personal responsibility. Everyone in the room here needs to take some personal responsibility about this. How have we managed to lose the current generation of internet users? When you look at what's out there, we've heard all 3 days worth of malware, badness, phishing, etc. And yet we're not getting any better than this. Why is it that we're drawn to these emails with a magical blue writing, with an underline, and as users we all click on them? What is it that we can't get through to people's head? And where is it that we're going to with the next generation of users? They're the ones that are going to be constantly connected all the time. Smart devices, whether they're wearables or whatever. How are we going to get that lot of people to not be in the dark ages?
Thank you very much, Nigel. Give him a round of applause, his final speech. Our final speaker for this final debate, today's speed debate closes with Darren Kitchen. Take it away, Darren.
The internet security dark ages. You know, as InfoSec professionals, I feel like we don't get enough pats on the back. Are the internet security dark ages upon us? I say no, they are behind us. We deserve a pat on the back. Windows XP, Microsoft Bob, Windows ME, Trumpet Windsock, Clippy, Gentoo on a Cyrus 686. Transmeta happened. Microsoft Internet Explorer, ActiveX, Flash, Java, VRML, MS 08, 067. We are survivors.
There you go. Okay, thank you, Darren. This is your final vote for the day. If you believe the internet security dark ages are upon us, if you want to vote for Steve, Still and Nigel, hit affirmative now. If you think the negative team, Justin S., Troy and Darren, carried the day, hop on board and vote for the negative. I'll give this one a few seconds because it's our final debate. Oh, hello. Well, I might give it a few seconds. We'll see how we go.
Hey, you know now that vinyl's making a comeback, you'll know what I mean when I say that Justin is like a 33 played at 78.
Okay.
All I can say is I went to the Peter Goodman School of Speed Debating, so I learned from the master.
Okay. I'm not seeing much movement there. I am going to call that one to the negative. Congratulations, Justin S., Troy and Darren. Okay. So, we had 6 topics. We had 9 debaters. The best anyone could have done would be if they were on the winning side all 4 times. For example, we have a clutch of debaters who scored 2 wins out of 4. So a big round of applause for Nigel Fair, David Litchfield, Troy Hunt and Justin Stephen with 2 out of 4. Great stuff. On 3 out of 4, Steve Wilson and Justin Mr. Negative Clashety. Give them a round of applause. If our remaining 3 speakers could be upstanding, they are Edward, Still and Darren. Please all stand up, the 3 of you. Stand up. Yes. Now, Edward and Still both scored 0 out of 4, so you can sit down. That's genius is often not appreciated until decades after it's happened, gentlemen. Leaving our undefeated 4 out of 4 winner of this year's speed debate, Darren Kitchen. Congratulations, Darren. 4 from 4. Yeah. Big round of applause for all the panel. That was just great stuff, guys. Well done. Wait here on stage for a couple of seconds because here to wrap it all up from AusCERT is Rob Moffat before we make those 3 o'clock buses downstairs. Rob, come and say a couple of words. Round of applause for Rob.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I stand here before you doing the duty of closing the AusCERT 2016 conference on behalf of Thomas King, the General Manager, and it's my great pleasure to do so. It's been a hugely successful event again this year. Hopefully all of you agree. We've had almost 400 attending workshops and tutorials on Monday and Tuesday of this week, and a full venue across the whole week, full attendances and about 60 speakers all up throughout the program. So really I wish to thank those speakers and those presenters and those keynotes in particular. They've done a marvellous job. Many have come and travelled from great distances to be here. They've put in a lot of hard work, preparation, not only to elicit some inspiration and some new thoughts about the topics that they presented on, but also to entertain us, and they've done that admirably. I would especially wish to thank our sponsors, without whom a conference, particularly this conference, given that AusCERT is a not-for-profit organisation, couldn't be staged every year, and particularly our platinum sponsors, Dell, Fortinet and Symantec, great companies and great friends of AusCERT, and indeed the sector where I come from, the higher education sector. Of course, I'd like to thank our organising committee and many of the hard workers and able bodies that have assisted them along the way. Adam Spencer, what a compere. Fantastic. Thanks again, Adam. The AV crew up the back and the conference team from SANE, who have done a marvellous job again. But really, a special thank you to Bryony and Beck. They've worked tirelessly over the last, well, at least 10 months, trying to put this program together, cajoling and coercing and generally organising all of us and those people that are attending the conference to speak. Also, a big thanks to the AusCERT team who put in a lot of hard work, not only in the organisation, helping Bryony and Beck, but also for the call of papers, vetting those, and the technical aspects of the conference. And of course, my team from the University of Queensland who do a lot of the technology that supports this particular conference. But most of all, I wish to thank you, the delegates. I hope you've enjoyed the event. It's great to see so many faces back again this year, friends of AusCERT and people that really get a great deal of benefit out of this particular conference. Travel safely home. You will be provided with an app over the next week. Please give us some feedback about the conference. We're trying to improve it every year, and I think it is generally improving every year. This is a great venue. I think we'll be here again next year. I certainly hope so. Certainly the Marriott hope so. And with all that, thanks again, and travel safely. Come back next year.